welcome to Daily Joys. In this episode I'm going to be talking about some of my top plants that I grew on my allotment plot in 2016. Now first off I'm going to talk about my winter squash. There's lots of varieties to choose from here, but I would say that my top plant was Uchiki Kuri. Now here's one that I've still got left over. I had so many of these last year. I grew 4 plants and I was giving these away. There were so many of them. Really great. Now, top tip for squash, winter squash, what you need to do is you need to pick them and store them before you eat them. If you eat them straight off the vine, then the flavour just hasn't developed. So you need to leave them for about 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks before you start eating them after you've picked them. And then you'll get that real nutty flavour to them and they'll taste really nice. Now let's have a quick look at the packet. I bought these from Unwin's and they are an early maturing with a sweet nutty flavour squash, and you sow them from March to May and you harvest them from September to October. And so that's my top plant for the winter squash. Now moving on, I had a fantastic year last year for my brassicas, but I would say that the standout plant for me was broccoli sibsi. Now with this plant it cropped all summer long. We had so much of it. I was giving it away. We were having it for dinner 3 times a week. It's a green tender stem variety and it's prolific. You just get so many stems off each plant. Really recommend this, and it tastes really lovely. Now with this what happens is that it grows up and then you get quite a big head on the top like you would a standard broccoli, and then you cut that off. You eat it, and then that's when you get all of the side shoots that start coming out, and that's where you get your tender stem broccoli from. And I'd really recommend this. Now let's have a look at the packet. So these are from Thompson & Morgan, and you sow them from mid-March to mid-June, and then you harvest them from late June to November, and you get 20 seeds in the packet. And last year I only had 7 plants, and that was more than enough. So I'd really recommend these. Now, moving on, the next brassica that I would recommend is a new one to the market, which is Brucale, and it's also known of as flower sprouts. Fantastic plant. I grew this for the first time last year, and I'm now going to be growing it every year. It's a cross between a Brussels sprout and a kale, and you can tell that it's got Brussels sprouts in it, but it's a much milder flavour. And so for those people who are a little bit funny about their Brussels sprouts, definitely try these. And they're so pretty. They look like mini ornamental cabbages. They're really, really pretty. And so let's have a look at the packet. You sow these indoors from February to March, and then you plant them out after the last risk of frost has gone. And then you harvest them from October till March the following year. So these are a winter crop, and they're a very heavy cropper, like a Brussels sprout would be, and they grow in exactly the same way, so you just cut them off the stem in the same way you would with Brussels sprouts. But yes, definitely recommend these. Fantastic plant. Now moving on, courgettes. I think everybody has bumper crops of courgettes every year because they're just a very easy plant to grow and they're just prolific. You get loads of them. But this year I tried a new variety and I really liked it. I grew one called Courgette Limona, and it's a yellow courgette. And I thought that it tasted different. It tasted a lot nicer than the green courgettes. The skin was a lot softer, and sometimes when you have the green courgettes, they're quite leathery in the skin, and they have that fluff on them. And I found that you just didn't get that with the yellow ones. They were much smoother on their skins and just much nicer to eat. So I'm going to be growing these from now on. Really great plants. Now let's have a quick look at the packet. So I got these from Unwin's, and they're a heavy cropper with fewer spines for easier harvesting, and you sow them from April to May, and then you harvest them from June until September, although realistically if you have a later frost you can actually harvest them much longer. And you get 10 seeds in the packet, and so that's more than enough, because you don't need many courgette plants every year, do you? Because they're such heavy croppers. Now, moving on to the beans. I had a really great year last year with my beans, and they're just really easy to grow, I'd say. Now, my son picked our runner beans. He picked a variety. I'll show you why. We'll see in a minute. He picked them because the beans were wearing trainers on the packet. The runner beans, and this variety was Scarlet Emperor. This is a variety that I normally go for anyway. It's just this was a child's packet, which definitely won with their marketing because he picked it. These were really good, really tasty runner beans and very pretty flowers. And as long as you don't let them get too big, they're not that stringy. So really recommend these as a variety. And for my French climbing beans, I grew Cobra. I grow these every year. I find they're a really, really good variety to grow. They're a reliable cropper and they're very, very tasty. They're not stringy. You get nice uniform pods. Just can't recommend them enough. Now with these, let's have a look at the packet. You sow them in early April to late June and then you harvest them from June onwards. These were from King Seeds and I got 50 seeds in the packet. I actually bought this seed packet about 3 years ago, but with bean seeds, they store so well that even if it did have it says best before September 2018. Although if I still had some seeds left over after this, I would still try and sow them because beans are quite a reliable plant, and even after the best sow by date, they still tend to come up. Right, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and I will see you on the next one. Bye.